Welcome back. Welcome back. How are you, beautiful people? We've missed you. I'm sure you missed us
Facts.
too. I am your host, Jessica Frias, and
I am Brittany Fontanez, and
um,
welcome.
rewind that back because you're supposed to say, I am your other host. Thank you very much. Keep going.
I am your other host, Brittany Fontanez. Welcome, boo boos.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
You're
God damn
welcome.
it. And we are mystifying reality. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. I can't believe the summer's over. It's almost over. I feel like I just closed my eyes and here we are. So that's fun. But this week we will be talking about discovering the feminine energy. There's going to be some deep ish going on here. Disclaimer, I am taking care of the dog again. You're going to hear her barking, or you're going to have to see me disappear for a second to calm her down. Get over it. Thank you. Anyways,
And another disclaimer, there are some things we might say that may be triggering to some people. Not to take it into offense, it's more like your mind will probably be like skeptical about some things we say, like, we were told something different, but then we're hearing this. So it's like the mind, when it learns something new, it gets a little scattered or skeptical about things. So trigger warning, just trigger warning. Some things may not sit right with some people because of religious beliefs or any type of beliefs.
that's facts. If it doesn't feel good, if it makes you uncomfortable, then you're in the right place because that means you something tick that you care about. I'm just saying.
Facts. Very good facts. That's so true. That's what I love about triggers. Is like we get triggered and we start to realize that little do we know subconsciously we needed that, even though consciously we don't see it that way. It's a very interesting dynamic, honestly.
It'll make an impact whether it's today or 3 years from now, where you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So that's all that
Mhm.
matters. If you're hearing it, you needed to hear it. That's all I'm going to say.
Facts. All right, so we did get a suggestion from our very great acting teacher, Maria. She gave us a book called what is it? The Woman. I already forgot the title.
In English, it's Women Who Run with the Wolves by
Oh, okay.
Clarissa Pincola. Definitely, we're talking about it in English because most of our audience is English speaking, but definitely recommend to listen to it or read it in Spanish. It is definitely more impactful, I promise, if you read Spanish.
Yeah, I'm currently learning, so you can't hold it against me.
Well, you're trying.
Hey, at least I'm trying and not making an
Exactly.
excuse that I wasn't taught Spanish. But
I give you an E for effort.
okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope it gets to a B for Brittany. But
Not right now, bro.
whatever, thank you. But what I could say from, by the way, if any of you guys have suggestions on topics you want us to talk about, do not hesitate to email us or message us on Instagram. But what I really enjoyed about this book, I did skim through it, and I skimmed through a lot of it because that's kind of how the quickest way I could pick up the energy of a book. But I love how it intertwined with nature, Mother Nature. A lot of people don't understand when it comes to the feminine energy. The earth is a feminine energy as it is because it's always creating, it's always growing, it's always giving. So I really love the depiction of the book, especially like the title itself. It really explains how woman is connected to nature, but how we are so disconnected from that divine nature itself that we forget the part of ourselves. So for example, like you may be a man listening to this. This is not just inquiring females as in women. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us, whatever gender we are, because it's energy, it's not just physicality. So we have to understand that the feminine is all about emotions, what's underneath the surface. nature, even the moon represents feminine energy. This is why when women do get their cycles, it goes by the moon itself, the moon cycles. So, and the ocean represents emotions. So, therefore, the feminine energy is of emotions. This is why women could feel more. But then again, there are a lot of masculines. I have a lot of friends who are guys who are more tapped into the feminine energy than I am. So, it doesn't really matter the gender you are. It's just recognizing that we have two energies that help us exist. And the feminine energy is the one that's been madly suppressed for so many centuries and even until this current day and age, because we're taught that feeling is not good. We're taught
Mm-hmm.
that expressing our truth is not good. Being vulnerable makes you weak. Or even when women are told not to get angry, it's really contradicting, because when the masculine gets angry, it's a form of we have to obey to that. But when the feminine gets angry, it's more as if you're crazy, you're wild, you're scary. But women have the right to exist as well as emotions have the right to exist. So that was my beginning spiel. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciated this book. I think it was very informative as well as funny. There was definitely some funny things. I think
It
it
was funny.
really brings empowerment to not just women, but like you said, just the feminine energy within itself. I think while we grow up, we're taught certain things, like I said, not just as females, but just more of that being in tune with your emotions and feelings and speaking about things and doing what you want to do instead of trying to please and do what others want you to do. And I think that this book did a really good job of depicting, like, you know, tap into yourself, do what you want, feel what you need to feel, be free.
Hmm.
I There was a lot of different stories that the book gives. We don't want to give it away, but I
Yeah.
do want to share. Honestly, if I could, I would share the whole book, but I'm going to share two things that I highlighted in the book that really stood out to me, and I thought that I would share with you guys. Clarissa did a good job. I want to meet her. But the first thing that I loved that she said was, the doors to the world of the wild are few but precious. If you have a deep scar, that is a door. If you have an old story, that is a door. If you love the sky and the water so much you almost cannot bear it, that is a door. If you yearn for a deeper life, a fuller life, a sane life, that is a door. And
Hmm.
so those are all doors to the world. I'm pretty sure from anything that I read there, we all have at least one. And that's just a reminder to explore your wants, to explore the world, to not be scared of being scared, but to be
Mm,
enlightened that you're scared and push yourself. And I think that through the feminine energy, definitely can do that. Now,
absolutely.
the second one, but not last. Just kidding. It is the last because, it could be here all day. It's really short. Don't waste your time hating a failure. Failure is a greater teacher than success. Listen, learn, go on.
That's facts.
Boom, drops a mic.
Mm,
Because I
that
know
is
that
facts.
there's a lot of us that just get fixated on what we did wrong or what we do wrong or what we don't like about ourselves, that we forget all the good that we do, all the
Yeah.
good that we think about, all the good that we're capable of. And so that was a great reminder to just feel what you have to feel, whether it's good or bad, and do something of it. So I just
Mm,
thought I'd share that. But I definitely appreciate the recommendation because it was fire. Definitely recommend the book. Again, Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pincola. Thanks,
yeah.
Maria.
Appreciate you, Maria. See, I love that you shared that, because that's the thing. The feminine energy is meant to be wild. I'll never
Mhm.
forget listening to this woman. She was explaining how men's mind work and how women's mind work. She was saying
Oof.
that men are like the frame, as like the canvas. They're like the frame, and so they stay inside the box. But the
Mm-hmm.
feminine energy is like the crazy colors, coloring outside the box, because feminine energy just wants to have sovereignty over its life. And it's all about creation, it's all about expression. And
Yeah.
what I did like about the book, it was talking about Greek gods, how they did worship the feminine energy and knew that it was a gateway for them to express and have their own breakthroughs within themselves. And also, I do want to share with you guys that what I find very interesting, this is where the trigger warning comes in, is that, you know, religion has taught that everything is masculine energy. Even when you look at the cross, kind of looks
Oh,
like a penis upside down.
don't get me started.
I know, boo, but let's like, we're not shutting
Mhm.
at any religion or any beliefs. This is more of, let's look at something differently than we currently look at. Now, I'm not saying my way is the right way or the only way. This is just what resonates with me, so it might resonate with you. I remember like when I was reading the book and it was talking about Greek gods, it brought me down to like the lane of Egyptian times when their representation of energy or worship of a higher power was an ankh, which does look like a cross, but it has an opening on top. And when you hear in the Bible, it says Alpha Omega. Most people depict that as masculine energy because we were told that. But in Egyptian times, the Ankh represented the Alpha Omega as an Alpha L, which is like we would consider the penis, but the wand, that's masculine energy because it helps formulate. And then you look at the top of the Ankh and it's an opening, which represents the womb, the Omega, the feminine energy that is like a portal.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps not only birth life, birth creation, birth expression, birth different ways of how we can look at life and connect to it. Like the feminine energy, she's dark. Like if you look at it in the beginning of times, when let there be light, there was nothing but darkness because it was just an opening of something needing to be birthed. And then light came through, which was the masculine energy. It was able to create a new life. So the feminine energy is really dark because that is the part of us that is so suppressed that we don't show to the world. And this is how we get lost into the toxic femininity, where she's seductive, always wanting to get things her way. Now, remember, you guys, I'm not saying this just with women. This is just how I'm describing the feminine energy. But we get lost in the toxicity of the feminine energy by not really looking at our authentic self and feeling safe to express that to the world and to be really seen, because we feel like who we really are, the world is not going to love or the world is not going to accept. And that's not the way we should be living. We should allow ourselves to go into the crevices and the dark spots of our psyche and recognize what is hurting us, what is bothering us, what's underneath the surface. Go deep into the ocean rather than staying on the surface level of the ocean, and recognize how you feel. Who are you? That's what the feminine energy is all about. Discovering the parts of you that were not allowed to be shown, when that's the part of you that is needed for you. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Have you ever thought that maybe that part of the feminine energy is toxic is kind of because, like we said, we're not putting genders to this, right? We're naming it what it is because that's what it was called, feminine and masculine gender. Wow, feminine and masculine energy,
Got it.
but not gender, right? So have you ever stopped to think, because as you were speaking it kind of made sense to me, I don't know if it's gonna make sense, but here we go, that part of the text, I cannot speak today. I'm sorry. That part of the toxic feminine energy that tends to come up may be a reflection of our masculine energy pulling us back and not letting us move
Mhm.
forward and kind of
I agree.
masking it. Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. Because I do have times where I just want to be a weirdo. And I know that's just a part of me that wants to be like goofy, laughing, dancing. And sometimes I feel like my masculine, logical self comes through and it's like, no, don't do that. That won't be accepted. That's a little weird. That's a little strange. The judgmental part of my masculine will come in and say that. And it makes me dim my own light. So I definitely believe that it's interesting in a way, because it's like this is how our mind and our hearts contradict each other and always fight, is because the feminine wants to be expressed, the masculine wants to be in control. So it's like, when you're trying to allow yourself to be your authentic you, it's like they kind of resent each other and you have inner war with yourself.
Yeah,
So
they're
it's like
opposites.
you both bring the toxicity out of each other. But when you can allow the masculine to take the lead and make the feminine feel safe within yourself to be who you want to be, it becomes more harmonious and you'll be able to balance those energies a lot better.
Oh, I know I said I wasn't putting gender into this, but if
Oh, she
life
froze.
was like that, that would be beautiful. If relationships could be just like that, that would we would have a perfect world. But at the end of the day,
True.
right? Feminine energy, masculine energy were studied and created for a reason because we need them both, whether we want to believe that or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know there's a lot of people that are like, I only have feminine energy. I don't have a drop of masculine energy in me. And I think it's because people get so caught up in the word feminine and masculine that they're like, oh, that's insulting. Like, I'm a girl and you're telling me I have masculine. Like, I have 70% masculine energy, 30% feminine. And
Yeah,
I and that's okay. And I own it
it
for
is.
sure. And I think it's more of like understanding what your traits are and where you fall
Mhm.
and becoming one with it. Because there's people that like I know people that are 100% masculine energy and not
Oh yeah,
necessarily men, but are completely against it and want to
yeah,
try so hard to be this feminine energy, and it just comes off as awkward and like frustrating for them, and like they're just not happy with life. And it's kind of
yeah,
just like how we were talking about last week in the ego. It's something where it's always going to be there. You kind of just have to learn to love it, to be honest, and grow with it and
yeah,
work with it, because if you go against it, honey, you're not going to be happy, and that's just the reality of it. I'm
yeah.
being honest.
You end up becoming a slave to the ego when you're supposed to be the master of it. And it's crazy how you say that, because I know a lot of women and who get offended when I say like, you're too much in your masculine energy. They're like, I'm feminine. But I'm like, what I mean is that it's not that you're manly. It's just you're
Hmm.
too controlling. You're too, you don't want help. I could do it all myself type of thing. And that's what I mean, is that you don't allow yourself to surrender and lean back. 'Cause that's the feminine energy. Resting, leaning back, trusting, receiving. And a lot of people don't know that, because they
Hmm.
think, oh, just because I'm a female, I'm already in feminine energy. There's a lot of men who are very feminine and they don't even know how to be grounded or take the lead.
Hmm.
And they wonder why women always walk all over them. And it's just because you don't assert yourself. You're not in your masculine energy. I mean, for me, I would consider myself more of an androgynous being, because I wouldn't say that like it's well balanced. I somewhat know how to kind of balance my masculine and feminine energy a little well in my own essence, to the point I kind of have masculine and feminine features. So I would say I'm more of an androgynous being, and most spiritual beings are. Like they could tap into the masculine very well, tap into their feminine energy really well when the times are needed. So, but what I wanted to share with you guys, I want to share an interesting fact that I learned about like 2 years ago, is that the left brain is of the masculine, the right brain is of the feminine, which is the creative side. And what's crazy is that if you look at your body halfway through, the right side is masculine, the left side is feminine. The feminine side holds a lot of emotions and things of the past, and the masculine holds a lot of the future. And so what's crazy is that the mind intertwines with one another. And therefore, this is how our energies co create with one another. So the body is very, very intriguing. Like me and my friend had Go ahead.
So you're telling me that that's why I have headaches on my right side? I
Because
don't
you're
want to
learning
talk
how to
about. I
surrender.
don't. I don't
You're
want to talk about it anymore.
you're learning how to surrender. You're learning how to
This
trust and
is. I'm gonna.
rest.
Good night.
Yep. I mean, you are an Aries, so you could be really in that alpha cardinal
Period.
energy, which
Aries
means you
gang.
take the lead. Which is nothing wrong with it. It's beautiful that you're aware of yourself and know your energy very well. It's just a matter of, like, for me, for instance, I know I have a wounded feminine energy because I have a tough time receiving.
Mm,
Like and that's the thing about the feminine energy. It's been so suppressed that we believe we only deserve the worst rather than the best. We always think we have to give up on ourselves and neglect ourselves to please other people. We think we always have to give to the point of depletion, and therefore, like, we don't matter. And this is why I
you
feel like
matter. You're worthy
exactly
of love. Just a
love. Like
reminder.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate you.
everyone, not just Brittany. Everyone.
Exactly. Everyone deserves this. And I feel like a lot of people I mean, we both have wounded masculine and feminine, but I feel like the feminine is more wounded because we never tapped into that nurturing side. And most of us had moms who were very in their masculine energy, taking control, getting shit done, and they didn't have time to be nurturing. They didn't have time to love,
Ain't
surrender,
nobody had
rest.
time. Yup.
Ain't nobody had time. So it's like now we're learning to discover that feminine energy, and I feel like a lot of people are waking up to this because we're tired. Our bodies are tired. Our mind is tired, and the feminine energy is not always supposed to work and produce. It's supposed to
Exactly.
rest. Because if you recognize when we tap into our feminine energy, we get more creative. You ever recognize that when you're trying to manifest something and you get into the feminine energy of receiving, where you're just not, you already put the intention out there, but all of a sudden you're just trusting and you're not really focused on the outcome. Like the masculine's always go, 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 like focus.
Mhm.
But the feminine's like, no, I'm good. I trust. I know what I deserve. I know who I is. And then all of a sudden it comes easy and swiftly because you're not trying to force it. And the masculine is about force. The feminine is all about just ease, just peace. And I feel like this is why a lot of people haven't discovered that side because we're not taught peace. We're not taught to rest. So we're not taught to relax. We're always taught that the masculine energy is the only energy we have to tap into. And this is why most women are trying to be like men. And it's very sad. It's very sad because if women weren't supposed to exist, then why are we here? I mean, I just got to put a real pointer out there. Yeah.
I mean, that's a fact. Let's not even get tech. Let's not go there. Let's not.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a, that's a, that's another episode.
another conversation for another day.
Yeah. No, but it for sure is true. It's just it's wild to me. But it's like understanding that this is beyond us and beyond our immediate families and it's passed down to oof. You see it in movies. You see it in old movies. You see it. There's
Yeah.
just like you're either a woman or a male. There's no in between. There's no,
Yeah.
you either act like this or you act like that. And at the end of the day, let's be honest, it's still happening this day. There's cultures and religious beliefs that are always gonna say it's either A or B. There's no C.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
we're not bashing on any religion. Believe who you want to believe. Follow what you want to follow. But at the end of the day, no one's gonna tell me that you didn't sit down and think like, there's more, or
yeah.
what am I not seeing, or what don't I want to see, or what am
Mhm.
I not understanding? You know, I feel like
Yeah.
everyone has a moment like that, whether you do something about it or not. That's up to us. But it's kind of like, think about it. It has to be 50-50. There's
Most
never
definitely.
there's never like 100 of one and zero of the other, because then we wouldn't be who we are. Like, I don't think the human is composed of just, my God, I'm stressed out.
I know. Just thinking about this, it kind of, just thinking about this, I know it makes the feminine energy angry because it's like we weren't given the recognition that we feel we deserve. And like, it's crazy. A lot of people don't know before, like BC, like back in the time before Christ and stuff, there was like woman warriors that fought for their kingdoms, just like they
Ugh,
ward it back then, and a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that women were the
bunch of
kings of
baddies.
kingdoms. Bunch of baddies, bro. And that's why it's like it blows my mind how much history has twisted it to think that we have to worship the masculine or worship the men. And this is not shunning on men itself. This is more of looking at what we were taught and recognizing how we're missing a lot of information when it comes to
Hmm.
understanding our bodies, our existence, our power, when it comes to the feminine energy, the power in our emotions, the power in our spirit, the power in creation, the power in rest. And what's crazy is that I remember reading a book. I think I was like in high school. It was called The Experiment. And it was about like a woman in the Holocaust, like a mother having to like do experiments on pregnant women. And what I've learned, and this is even a scientific fact actually, that when babies are in the womb, they pick up the mother's trauma and they pick up the ancestral trauma while already being in the womb. So they don't have to exist to already get deformed by these
Hmm.
limiting beliefs. They already have it within the mind because since the umbilical cord is connected to the nervous system of the mother, all the DNA is being
Yeah,
activated and transferred into the baby. So therefore, when we're born, we're already it's crazy how much if we look at our mothers, how much most of our problems and how we act and how we are is a reflection of our mothers. And therefore that's how we can unlock what is not serving us and what is not serving that generational line of the feminine energy to help feel more safe and feel more like, damn, I could shine. I deserve to be here. I deserve to look good, feel good, smell good, be me as a female and not
yeah,
sexualize that, not demonize that, not shame that. Because feminine
exactly.
energy is just so shamed. And it's like, how can we praise the bullshittery of the masculine energy of being a fuck boy or just being praised for dumb toxic shit, but when women do that or the feminine energy is suppressed, it's like, no, that's too much. No, calm down. No, that's not. No,
Exactly.
don't do that. And it breaks my heart to see that. I just don't like it, and I see why a lot of people who are more in their feminine energy or have a wounded feminine energy just don't know what self love is or self respect is because what they were involved with, you know? It's just
And
sad.
it's wild. And it's like, I think the change comes from, yes, it's in our DNA, but when that baby comes out, that's when the real work does. And you can turn around and take those traumas away from that kid and have that
Yeah.
kid grow up and be a lion and protect. And I think we need a new generation of fighters. And there's these youngins, they have
They
a
coming.
mouth and they're
Yeah.
strong willed, and I'm really proud to see that because
Me
we
too.
are going forward instead of going backwards. I think
Hmm.
there's a lot of power in words and knowledge,
Absolutely.
and I look forward to the future, even with us having conversations, and opening people's eyes or just reminding people. It's all about being in tune with yourself. No one can take that away from you. That is a power. No one can take that away from you. If you're confident,
Hmm.
you trust yourself, you love yourself, fuck everybody else. Like at the end of the day,
Exactly.
no one's going to be able to touch that, like reach that. Your light is something that no one can take away but yourself. And that's the
Yeah.
scary part, but that's why we have these conversations so that we can bring this talk out into the world and enlighten people to be like, "No, come on, man." You know? Like cuz I know I'm one that I'm always defending everybody and their mother,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't sit
Hmm.
right with me. Like you're not going to do that. You're not going to talk to them like that.
Yeah.
So,
And I love that you described that because a lot of people understand the feminine energy is connected to intuition.
yeah.
And the intuition doesn't care about what's right or wrong or what feels good. The intuition tells you to do things that are uncomfortable. That's your feminine energy letting you know you deserve to be heard, but you got to express yourself. You got to stick up for yourself. You got to set those boundaries. You got to do things that are uncomfortable. And that's the dark aspect of what we don't want to tap into. It's
Exactly.
like, you know what I mean? So it's like the intuition is that little voice that tells you to do what is best rather than do what is feels good. Because the masculine is of the ego, which is of the mind. It only likes fantasy, what feels
Hmm.
good. But the intuition is the feminine, what is right for you. It's like a mother,
Exactly.
like telling you, honey, you got to do this. You got to do what's best for you, no matter how uncomfortable it is, because you will deserve what is best for you. You deserve to receive that. You know what I mean? And the way I would feel like would be helpful for people who are struggling to discover the feminine energy is look at your mother, look at your grandmother, look at the females in your life, in your family, and recognize what are some traits about them that you don't like, and try to compare them to yourself. Do you have those same traits? Like for me, for example, um, I realize the feminine in my family is so wounded that they don't trust. They don't trust in people. They don't trust in receiving. They don't trust in good or in love. So they're always standoffish. They're always on the defense. They're always feeling as if that they have to really settle and give up on what they want to give
Hmm.
others what they think they need. And
Oh,
that's one thing I've recognized that's not true. And I know you resonate with that, Jessica. I know you do. And it's like, no,
I
I
just
just,
like it's just a topic that, wow, it's just, I'm not throwing shade at anyone, but it's just like we need to do better. And now
yeah.
I'm talking about gender. When you're raising a girl, you need to do better, and we need to put aside all our past,
Mm-hmm.
whether good or bad, and just raise our girls with love and
Yeah.
confidence, and just
And
to
gentleness too.
yeah, and to know that emotions is okay. If you're upset and you're having a conversation, you can cry. Crying is not
Yeah,
weakness. Crying is strength. It's showing
it
emotion,
is.
saying you made me feel this way, saying that is not okay with me, setting boundaries. That's exactly why I've always said, like, don't get me wrong, I love the females in my life, but there's definitely a lot of trauma and a lot of like go 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 do, even when there's nothing to do, they're still doing something. And I grew up with that pressure of like feeling guilty for always feeling like I have to
Mm,
do something even if I don't feel well and I should be resting. Oh no, I have to get up and sweep because that's what I was
yeah,
shown. And it's like at one point it just clicked into resentment. Like I just got mad. Like, why are you making me
yeah,
feel bad for doing something that my body needs right now, and that's why I've always
yeah,
loved my aunt. She knows who she is. She's like my favorite person in the world because, like, while people were pressuring me to go do dishes, like she was like, like, what do you love? Like taking me to aquariums and to the movies and like
yeah,
allowing me to be a child and have
yeah,
that fun time. And then I just like, you could tell the difference and the impact that a person has on you by what they allow you to do and what they allow you to explore. And I just say that
yeah,
to say, like, if you're having kids, if you're bringing kids up into this world, whether they're girls or they're boys, just give them love and an understanding for themselves. Knowing yourself, knowing what you like, knowing what you don't like, is power.
yeah.
And that's
And that's the only power you can use to teach.
exactly.
Kids don't listen, they mimic. So
Hmm.
you have to be an example of what it is you never been taught so they can learn better. That's how you break generational curses. That's how you heal wounds. That's how people can have a well balanced energy within them to the point they know themselves to be able to do what is best for themselves. Like there was a video I watched of a dad explaining to the girl that was crying, that was angry. He was like, I know you're angry. I know you're frustrated. And that is okay. There is nothing wrong with it. But the mature thing to do about it is feel it. Don't take it out on people. Don't
Hmm.
take it out on things. But you have the right to feel what you feel. And that's the
Oh, number
way
one
the
dad.
number one dad. And not only that, that's the way the masculine should take lead and create space for the feminine. And as a dad too, because my dad is so hard on me, and it got to a point lately where I literally have to put him in his place. I was like, listen, just because you made me don't mean you own me, and just because you lived a longer life than I have does not mean you have the advice that I want to follow. And I know that you weren't there as a dad when I needed you when I was younger, but right now I don't need you to be an advisor. I need you just to be a father and accept who I am, but create space for me to be who the fuck I am. Because he's always
Hmm.
been controlling a woman. And I was like, listen, you control my mom, you control my sister, you control my stepmother, but there's no way in fucking hell you're going to control me. And he got the point. He got the point. That's the point of the feminine energy. You got to express the uncomfortability that you feel, that you hide from the world, and recognize that the reason why you're feeling this resentment and this anger because it wants you to stop hiding. It
Yeah.
wants you to really take control of your life, master thyself. Because that's the only way we can discover the feminine energy is when we learn to listen to the most uncomfortable emotions. And emotions are not something we should demonize. Emotions is something that we should learn from because they're just indicators that there's something that you are not accepting within yourself that needs to be loved.
That's
That's all
true.
it is.
Oof.
So, I channeled there. I don't know where I went. Brittany wasn't there.
That was some deep shit. Someone definitely needed to hear that.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's only love, you guys, you know. So the best way to discover the feminine is feel your emotions. Don't shun them. Don't shame them. But also recognize how how what is it? How can I explain it? How much do you copy your mother? How much do you copy the feminines in your life and recognize is that really you or is that projections you were taught? And recognizing does it serve your heart? Does it serve your emotions? And if it doesn't, that's when you got to take a deep dive and really discover and recognize there are some things, there are some pains, resentments, disappointments that I've suppressed that's made me a resentful, hurtful person. And now I'm just tired of it. It gets to a
Hmm.
point where we're tired of suffering. And that's the feminine just trying to rise within us and purge and let ourselves be known and to shine motherfucking bright. That's it.
Yep. Let's tap into that feminine energy and start pointing out what we like and what we don't like. I like that.
Yeah,
That's a good homework. Start there.
most definitely. Yeah. And also, you guys, one last thing before we let you guys go, but when you do learn the feminine energy, do not feel guilty for choosing yourself. Because I know when we learn to discover the feminine energy, is most of the time we feel guilty for choosing ourselves. We feel guilty for saying no. We feel guilty for canceling on commitments or people that look up to us or fiend for our energy. It's okay to create tension. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's all okay because you're learning a part of yourself that was never given love and now you're learning to love it. And therefore, when you choose you, just recognize it's okay that if your cup is empty, or if you're not able to fill another person's cup. Because boo
Yep.
boo, it's not about you having to fill up another person's cup. Make sure you create a waterfall to the point you don't have to pour into anyone's cup. They just come and they're already filled up because you're already so aligned with who you are and your truth that you don't need to give. It's just more like you're naturally abundant, and that's the feminine energy.
Ooh. I think that's gonna play a role into next episode. It just correct me if I'm wrong, but being selfish does not make you selfless. That's a whole
Yes.
other talk we need to have.
Yeah.
Dun dun
That's
dun.
dun dun dun.
Coming
But
soon.
damn,
You just brought it. That's our
you're
next episode.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Self love doesn't mean you're selfless. No. Was
Selfishness.
that what you
Being
said?
selfish doesn't make you selfless.
Yes. That's true. And if you recognize too, even in the Bible or like in religion, they say selfish is being wrong. Like my stepfather said that to my mom, and I'm like, but mom, Are you being selfish when your cup is empty and you're trying to fill other people's cup
Exactly.
through an empty cup?
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy? Are you feeling rejuvenized? Because if you're not, that means you need space from him and from people. And he thinks that's selfish. And I'm like, that's not
Mm.
selfish, you know? So, yeah, that's our next topic, you guys. We already got
All righty,
it.
guys. You already know. Thank you for listening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Mystifying Reality Podcast. And make sure to email us if you have any questions or any topics that you want to hear us talk about at mystifyingrealitypodcast@gmail.com. I really wanted to give a shout out to my homegirl, Marie, who's a faithful listener. She'd be listening to me at work. Love you,
Real one.
girl. Thank you, boo. Let us know if you want to
Thank
come
you for
on.
the constructive criticism. Constructive
That
criticism.
wasn't her.
Appreciate you.
But thanks. That wasn't
Oh,
her.
that
No.
wasn't her? Oh, okay. Well, I'm still appreciative of your existence. All right, guys. It was nice being here. I love you all and have a blissful, blissful week wherever you are.
Peace out, y'all. Peace and love.
Only love.